All right, today's concept is pretty simple. We're gonna get the electric raft all inflated, take it out of the water, and do a range test to make sure I can get 25 kilometers out of one battery. There we go. And we're off. All right. Today's goal is to see if I can hit 25 kilometers off of just the one battery pack, so that I know with two, I'm getting the 50-kilometer range that I expect. So water's a little bit choppy today, no white caps, but yeah, it's only a flimsy little raft. But this is a big lake, man. Big lake, really long. We're motoring right along on speed 5. It's a nice cruising speed. So as a quick rehash of what this build is, it's an inflatable raft from Costco, Minn Kota Endura C2-30 motor, 360 watts, powered currently by a 12-volt, 100-amp-hour lithium iron phosphate battery. And based on the math, this thing should run the boat for like 3.5 hours at max throttle. And that's what today's little experimentation is all about. We're not going to wander too far away because I don't have a gauge for the battery, so I have no idea what capacity it's actually at. So should we run out of power, I want to stay within paddle range. Part of what these test runs are meant to do is to suss out potential things that I should bring with me for actual trips. And an extra propeller that just popped into my head. Maybe that should be a thing I bring, just in case I do bang up the prop on rocks or sticks or something. It's only a cheap plastic one. I could try 3D printing some. Actually, there might be an interesting video idea, testing out different 3D printed props on this thing. Off to our right here, off the starboard side, if you will, we've got what looks like a little campground type thing. Hard to tell. I don't know if
well, it looks like someone's little camp house, because there's a little house, and then there's a boat, and then we've got more people's houses over there.
Wouldn't it be nice to own a property like this?
One on jet ski.
Alright, so I checked the GPS tracker now that we've got a fair amount of distance on the boat, and it looks like on average we're tracking a little over 5 kilometers an hour. I think the max speed it said that we hit was 5.5 kilometers an hour. A little bit less than I was figuring. We're almost at 8 kilometers, about to head into dock here for a sec. Alright, the wife has left me, and I'm going to head back out on my own and see if I can set a new top speed record with just me in the boat. See how that goes. I'll paddle myself out to a safe distance. Alright, I think we're a safe distance away. Alright, Mr. Motor. Rotate you like that. Like that. And then, there we go. Tighten you back up and reverse, get us back out into the water. The reverse on this thing does not work too well. Spin ourselves around and then flip over to forward. Now it's just me in the boat, so I gotta be super careful about weight distribution. Oh. I find that if I sit on the actual floor of it instead of on the seats, it gives me a little bit more stability because my weight's down lower. Yeah, this is much better with me sitting down low. Okay, so this is why we test, right? So next time I think I'm gonna omit the seats. Oh, those are some nasty ass waves, man. Oh. But while one's actively hooked up to the motor powering it, the other is going to be charging up front with the solar panel hooked up to it, which is about, I don't think I'm going to fit 2 full solar panels on this raft, so 120 watts charging up the other battery. So about 1/3 of what the motor is consuming, powering it. So for every 3 hours I'm out on the water, I charge up about an hour of usage. It's actually not bad. And it's the exact same type of batteries that are in my Tesla Model 3, lithium iron phosphate. If you haven't watched my other videos on this raft, the whole point of this raft is to do raft packing, which is essentially camping trips done on the boat, specifically with an inflatable raft. With a canoe, it's called canoe tripping. With a raft, it's called raft packing. Oh boy. Look at these waves, boy. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, so the whole point of this raft and the electric motor and the battery is to do basically electric raft packing. The whole crux of my channel, if you happen to be new to it, is unconventional EV adventures. So some of the other stuff I do is things like backpacking on electric skateboards, wacky DIY builds like this one. So one thing I really like about this raft is that it comes with a set of oars because it's meant to be a rowing raft. If you look up at the front, you see that green 3D printed carabiner there. That's locking my backpack to the front there. At the back here, I actually forgot to do it to the battery carrying handle, but everything else back here is all locked to the boat on the black rope you see there, all with carabiners. So, what sort of raft packing trips do you guys want to see on the channel? Let me know. Alright, we got about 10 kilometers on the odometer. I'm starting to head back to our launch point. And as we head back into shore, I think I've pretty much nailed down my shore approach procedure. You can see my white Tesla Model 3 sitting there. I launched an electric raft from an electric car. That's the future, bruh. I hate rotating it. There we go. Lock that in place. Alright, we're beached. Now I just gotta get this off the water. Alright. And I mean, I'm a little soaked from the knees down, but hey. So, unfortunately, the performance seems to be leaning towards the lower end of the napkin math that I did. I figured that it would do somewhere between the range of 5 kilometers an hour to 8 kilometers an hour. And after this test, it seems like it leans really far onto the bottom end of it. The motor itself draws 360 watts at full throttle. And if you do a bit of math, you could divide my total battery capacity, that's 2,560 watt hours, by the consumption of the motor, you get a total runtime of just over 7 hours. And if you take that number and multiply that by the 5.5 kilometers an hour average speed I was maintaining, you get a total distance somewhere just shy of 40 kilometers. That doesn't quite make it to the 50 kilometers total distance that I'm targeting. However, if I hook up my 120 watt solar panel to one of the batteries while I'm out on the water, it averages about 70 watts. And if you extrapolate that out over the 7 and a bit hours of total runtime out on the water, that adds another 497 watt hours on average back into the battery from the solar, which actually adds almost an extra 7 kilometers of range. That bumps up my total distance to 46.7 kilometers. It's never exactly 50 kilometers in between each stop. It's like 44 kilometers, 46 kilometers, 48 kilometers. Getting that close, the last kilometer or two, I can easily row to make it if it's just shy of where I need to be. So the situation's not ideal. It's a little bit short of where I wanted it to be, but with these hacks, I think I can stretch it to that 50 kilometers.